Hey, everybody, it's me, Dave Schrader from the Paranormal 60, Ghosts of Devil's Perch, and the Holzer Files. And for some reason, you're tuned in to the Paranomaly Zone.
A ghostly apparition in the dark of night.
So, Mike, before we started recording here, before I pressed that giant red button, you shared an opinion of yours with me regarding Zach Bagans. Now, do you want me to say what you said, or do you care to share with our listeners your exact words? How would you like to go about that?
But you want me to be nice because you're holding out that hope that someday he might be on.
Well, I mean, what do we have if we don't have hope? Right,
well,
Mike?
Yeah, true. But then if I start spouting off, then, and if he ever does listen to it, which he won't, because...
Okay, so you're...
Because he's a dick, that's why.
There we go.
I think he's a dick.
That's what we were waiting for. And then I was taken aback by that, and I was like, wow, yeah. I like him.
Yeah, and what did you say right after that? I like making fun of him.
Well, yes, I like picking on him and his mannerisms sometimes. But then we had a good conversation talking about the pros and cons of said Zach Bagans.
Yeah.
And
that's very true.
If you're a fan of the paranormal, you are familiar with Zach and all of his ways, like him or not, disagreeable or agreeable. And you know what? Look at it this way. When you're on the top, people are always aiming for you, right?
Yeah. Well, part of how he got to the top was like doing some big corporate takeover, and it's like getting all of his tentacles into the Travel Channel, deep into the brain works of that, and shoving out and working out the lesser than Zach people. Now, that there's that big controversy that was going on. He knows what he's doing. Like I said, he's smart.
Sure. Absolutely.
But I just get this strong feeling of it's like a big corporation pushing out the little guys and then taking over every spot that he pushes somebody out.
Now, are you and we're not going to spend the entire episode talking about Zach Bagans, obviously.
We can't do that.
But
I'm probably already pissing off too many people.
This episode is related in a few separate ways to like the Ghost Adventures crew, the Ghost Hunters crew, because this is a return to our Terminal series, and we're looking into the alleged portal to hell known as Bobby Mackey's. That's going to be a good discussion.
At 44 Licking Pike, Wilder, Kentucky, 41071.
Wow,
opens at 7:00.
I thought I was listening
Dine
to
in,
the radio.
No takeout, no delivery. They also have line country music, line dancing, and a mechanic bull with regular ghost hunts. Now that's the whole breakdown of Bobby Mackey's in a nutshell.
I thought I was listening to a commercial.
So
that was quite impressive. I
I even gave the zip code.
Yeah, you did.
But I thought, Licking Pike in Wilder, Kentucky. Licking Pike. 44 Licking Pike.
You seem to be attracted to that phrase.
Well, it's just funny.
Yeah,
But
licking
I'm
Mike.
over it now, real quick.
Okay,
It's
he
done.
is. He is over it. But yeah, this is in a way related to Mr. Baggins and his crew and everyone else in the paranormal world in one way or another. I was going to go somewhere with I was going to refute some of your dick comments about Mr.
Okay,
Mr.
okay.
Baggins, and I totally lost track. That's okay. That's fine. As you said, I'm holding out hope that maybe, perhaps someday he'll be a future guest. And you know what? If he ever comes on the Paranormal Zone, I'm going to call you out right in front of him, and you're going to apologize right to Zach Baggins.
No, I have no desire to do that.
Okay. All right. Oh, I think I remember what I was going to say. When you get the vibe that he's like the top, he's the power mad head of the paranormal investigative world, and he's slowly pushing away the lesser known up and coming even paranormal investigative groups. I really don't know about that, Mike. But we aren't behind the scenes, obviously. There's
Right.
that whole kerfuffle with the former Destination Fear group, who we were lucky enough to have on as guests.
Mm-hmm.
That whole kerfuffle between them and Zach, and it's like, whose side do you believe? I mean, it's really tough to make a decision because we aren't there. We don't know what's going on. We only know what we hear, and of course, there's how many different opinions out there on the wonderful world of the wide web. The world of the wide web.
Yeah, I don't think I'll take any sides. It's just I'll have to just sit
You
back.
did. You just called him a dick. How is that not taking a side?
But that's not taking sides. It's just forming an opinion of the person itself.
Okay, now I truly did remember what I was going to say. Then we'll dive into Bobby Mackey's here. So, in your disparaging comments about Mr. Zach Bagans, are you in any way not... I feel like I have a word that I'm stuck on each and every episode, and tonight's word is refuting. So I'm going to say, are you in any way refuting the evidence that the Ghost Adventures team has accumulated throughout the years? I mean, they've been doing this since 2006, essentially. So are you saying that you don't believe the evidence they have captured because Zach Bagans is a dick?
Oh, they of course they're in a great position to catch great evidence. So, and they have all the tools for it, and they have the talent and the know-how.
There you go.
And the nice hair and the big muscles and everything.
Well, they're not so
and the
big
tattoos,
anymore.
so they do just fine.
I think Zach Bagans actually said he had a dad bod in one of the latest episodes. So
Yeah, well,
maybe that's why he wears like those black snowmobile suits every episode. Not sure.
yeah. His legs have turned to just old man legs, like mine.
Well, you know what? Enough rambling on here. Introductions
I just
are...
dropped my mic, sorry.
That's okay. Introductions are necessary in case you are new to the program. Yeah, believe it or not, from time to time we do get new listeners. This is the Paranormal Zone, your weekly dose of all things, hey, you guessed it, paranormal, strange, and mysterious. My name is Patrick Hoffenberg, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host with the ghosts, the paranormal poster boy himself, the man who is, dare I say, the withering away version of the Kool-Aid Man, Mr. Mike Carbno. I'm saying that because you have a giant red shirt on, and you do not fill these out at all.
I don't.
At all anymore.
I can wear shirts now that I haven't been able to wear for many years, and
that's awesome.
And it's well, yeah.
Well, maybe not.
Like I've said before, it's awesome if I knew how I was losing or why I was losing the weight.
Exactly. We're not recommending Mike's weight loss plan, but hey, you know what? You look great. So that's one thing, right? And you got a damn fine scully on. So
I do.
Good. Does that have like a little a pin on it?
Yeah, it's a Scots Irish pin with a.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now you are not being frightened by your little alien with the skelly cap on to your left there, because I think the last time we got together, you literally were taken aback by your own alien figurine.
Well, I had it set where it looked like it was peeking around my shoulder. I didn't care for that. So now I got him closer to the Debbie mirror.
Oh, it looks so cute with
so he can deal with that.
With another scallion, and then there's that damn freaky ass ugly monkey behind you. Goodness.
And unfortunately, he is wearing a fez.
I was going to say, what the hell is on that thing's head? That's interesting. Well, Mike, Bobby Mackey's, talk about a bucket list destination for us. I mean, there's so many damn places out there that we would talk about dreaming and hoping and wishing, Mike. I would love to make a trip to Kentucky.
Yeah, we could eat there and dance and line dance and
would you actually dance? Would you dance?
Absolutely not.
Well, then why did you suggest it? Because that doesn't make Come on now, you're putting out false hope now.
Yeah, that's a good question. I retract that statement totally.
It's kind of funny. Were you referencing the Bobby Mackey website earlier?
I was.
Yeah, because I was looking at the same thing myself, and I wanted to point out a few interesting tidbits. You covered some of them. I mean, the address, 44 Licking Pike. I think that's Mike's favorite address of all time now. 44
I've never thought of licking a pike.
Pike. Yeah. That kind of reminds me of an old Kids in the Hall episode where they were licking a lobster for luck. Do you remember that one?
I do not, but anytime that I can lick a pickerel.
And that's a hell of a lot better than licking a pike, right? I mean, they are different. They are different. Yeah, I'm looking at the Bobby Mackey site here, BobbyMackeys.com. Yeah, one of the headline banners here, America's Honky Tonk. Friday and Saturday matinee, doors open at 7. You may have said that already. Bobby Mackey and his best damn band. Hell yeah. Now, I am not a fan of country music. I'm not a fan of honky-tonk music, but I am a fan of the paranormal and this allegedly severely haunted locale that, like I said earlier, Mike, you and I we'd have a blast going there.
Oh, it would be fantastic. We'd camp out down by the well.
Oh, God. Yeah, we'd actually go down in the basement, unlike what we did at the Sally house. I tell you what.
Whether they liked it or not.
I tell you what, if anyone's ever trying to keep you and I at bay, all you have to do is hold a string in front of us, and we will not go through it.
Yeah. A piece of dental floss, and we are not going in there.
That's our kryptonite, man. Oh.
And it was even high enough, I think, to where even with my rotten body, I could have gotten underneath it.
Jesus.
Or I could have, I don't know, maybe climbed over it. I don't know. It would have been easy.
That just sounded...
Easy. Oh, it broke. Oh, the string broke.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think they had like a piece of yarn or something that
it was
like a torn off piece of tablet paper with a very hastily written.
But there was a like a 12-inch bucket that was on the ground that would have required us to either bend over and move it or step over it. So we would have done either or.
Slowly and discreetly pushed it over with one foot.
I'm so ashamed.
Or I could have knocked it down the stairs with my cane.
There you go.
That would have been fun, too.
That would have been great. And imagine if it got thrown back up the steps at us. Ooh.
Yeah, then I wouldn't have gone down then. Would you have gone down if that would have happened?
That's a great question. That's a really great question.
It's easy to say yes right now.
It's absolutely easy to say yes, but when you're in the moment and something like that happened, I would probably be a little intimidated.
Yeah. There are some times where there are some weird feelings in the house that,
And of course, we are talking about the Sally house in case everyone's lost. I wanted to read a couple things here about the touring aspects of Bobby Mackey's. I'm sure they wouldn't mind a little helpful promotion because we've got millions of people listening out there that are sitting on the precipice of a decision. Is that the right phrase? Precipice of a decision?
The precipice.
I don't know. I don't know if it is. Probably isn't.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And they're just waiting for that nudge, that push from you and I to tell them whether or not to fork over the dough.
Yeah, their precipice is getting smaller and smaller every time we mention it.
And that's one thing you want to avoid is a small precipice.
Precipice.
Or precipice. Precipice.
See, now that's one of those words you say too many times and you're screwed.
Don't say validity.
Sound right.
Just do not say validity, Mike, because that's talk about kryptonite. So
that's a bad word for me anyway.
So in case anyone's interested in any of these tours, if they want to go to the Sally House, I believe that was, man, what was it? $250, I think, for the Sally House, which is,
I believe so.
which is, nothing basically. This for a 2-hour guided tour, $35 per person. A group of 4 or more, discounted down to $30. If you want a private 5-hour investigation for paranormal teams up to 12 people, well, you have to fork over $650.
Oh, jeez.
But if you have 12 people, that doesn't hit your pocketbook as much. But who wants to investigate with 12 other people?
Yeah, no, that wouldn't work. No.
That includes a $100 non-refundable deposit due upon booking, and the balance of $550 will be paid in cash on the night of your investigation. The Villisca House, Mike, the other place we're looking into investigating, that's another one that the cost is a wee bit more than the Sally House. But, man, we have to get to the Villisca House, too. Good golly, Miss Molly, this is going to happen. But you need money to do it. We'll get there.
Tagus first.
Tagus. Hey, thank you for mentioning that, by the way, Mike. Referring to Bobby Mackey's, it's known as like the gateway to hell or the portal to hell, especially after the aforementioned Ghost Adventures group have their premiere episode focusing on Bobby Mackey's. And, well, of course, all hell broke loose, no pun intended. They claim to have even undergone exorcisms after investigating Bobby Mackey's. Some crew members claim to have been divorced because of their emotional, downfall after investigating Bobby Mackey's. But Tagus also claims to have a stairway to hell, Mike.
Right.
So, obviously, there are several ways to get to hell. If you want to do it while living, that is.
There is one way.
Do you care to explain, or are you talking about the obvious way?
If you kill somebody, that's going to put you right to hell, I think.
I know, exactly. So we recommend do not murder anybody if you do not want to go to hell.
Not unless it's a life-threatening situation. Then just go for it.
And just to be clear, we are not promoting murder.
No, absolutely not.
On the Paranomaly Zone.
But are these places, are they haunted? Is it a portal? Is it a doorway to hell?
Yeah.
Or is it all three? I think it's all three.
Mike, for those new to the program and those who are checking out, like, what the hell are these guys all about? And I'm really not familiar with this weird and wacky paranormal world. How would you describe a portal how would you describe how it works and what it would be? You've had and shared your belief on the show that one of your former residents, or abodes, I should say, had a damn portal in it.
Well, it's possible.
Was that a dog, or was that you?
that was a Mary sneeze.
Okay.
And if it was me, it would have been
from the rear.
Something, something from like the lower chest down, because you can see me from that up, and you didn't see anything happen.
Unless it was a portal. But how would you describe a portal, Mike? What is a portal to you?
I would say that it's like one of those rotating doors. It's just constantly rotating. But,
so sometimes closed, sometimes open.
Well, it's always rotating. Like those doors, you go in and you go around in a circle, and it.
Oh, sure. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
absolutely. You don't see them very often anymore, but I'm old enough to have dealt with those. And
did you ever get trapped in those?
They're kind of. No. But they're kind of fun as a kid. But
just running around in circles. Oh yeah.
Think of something like that, right there at that veil. It's like that veil that's separating us from there. Mm-hmm. But then there's that spinning door. It's just like all you got to do is step into it, follow it through, and you're in another place. I mean, it's like that. It's just open. It's constantly open where spirits can come and go.
Do you think that that's something that is of a natural occurrence, or do you think it is perhaps man-made?
That's a good question. I mean, is it something that's been there since the beginning of time? Whether it's been just an open space before anything was there, or before that house was built there? Was that portal still there? Then I would think it's just naturally there. Okay. Just something that's always been there. It's always going to be there, no matter what's there.
Do you think of the Earth? Its
house was built.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Yeah, I froze up a little bit there. I apologize. Are you back? There he is.
Oh,
he's back.
You were, yeah.
Yeah, we were both.
So did you miss a lot that I said, or
a little bit? Yeah, I heard you.
Okay.
I heard the word house, and that was about it. And there he's frozen again. He's just this look of disgust that he has on his face is just.
now you're frozen up again too.
You froze.
But anyway,
you froze. I was telling our listeners that you froze with just a look of disgust on your face. Just focusing. Just you were burning a hole through your computer screen, like aiming at me, like it was.
Really?
Yeah, I was frightened. So, are we back now?
Well, don't be afraid. Yeah, you kept on freezing up there too, so I don't know. But yeah, so the portal. I mean it, and then also, like you said, is it man-made? I think enough energy can be put into something that it could open up a portal. It can open up a doorway. If there's like a place like Bobby Mackey's, like if it's a portal, I mean, like all the satanic rituals that supposedly happen there, which we'll get into, and all of that, and so many people go in there to investigate, and putting that energy of, boy, this is a doorway to hell, it could give it the energy to create it.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, that's like there could always have been something there, but just that interaction, just the, almost the constant, interference, maybe, for lack of a better term, of the conjuring aspect of investigators or people who are just interested, and just the vibe that they project. Yeah, who knows? I mean, maybe we kind of help create that.
Absolutely. Portal. And if it's a portal that's just always been there, say 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, whatever, out in the middle of nowhere is a portal just naturally there. Say,
oh, now you froze up again. I think we're getting it
in the house.
I'm sorry, Mike. Repeat yourself. We froze up again. I apologize.
I was just reiterating the fact about a house being built over the portal. When it was just, say, a portal in the middle of nowhere, it was just an access for spirits or beings or whatever to come in and out or cross over. But when a house or a building is put there,
oh man, every time he's about ready to get into the meat of it, we freeze. Are you back there, Mike? Nope, he's frozen. Now he's looking at his mic at least. He's not staring.
I was waiting for you to unfreeze. Okay. You look like you died or something. Your eyes were closed.
I'm just we're getting affected by the spirit of something that doesn't want us to talk about Bobby Mackey's, apparently. No, but every time that you're about ready to get into the meat of your point, you freeze up. So, okay.
Well, okay.
Third time is the charm, and if you freeze up again, we're moving on. So,
okay.
Try and get there.
That portal, it's always been there. It's in the middle of a house now, and then it's getting all that activity of people being there and investigating it, and that's where all this, energy or portal hell comes up, where the interaction that people have with it. It's such a difference between, it's just a simple little opening, but when something is put there, starts interacting with people, and then people start putting this label of doorway to hell on it, when it might just be a simple, like a simple patio door or something, that it doesn't mean anything. It's just spirits coming and going.
It almost fits like the cliche, making a mountain out of a molehill, because
it could.
There's
and then it's maybe made into a mountain with all the energy that's given to it.
Yeah, that's why I'm
as people are there in this building, interacting with it and investigating it and getting it in their own mind what it is. Oh, that's a portal to hell. There's a woman's head down in there, which we'll get into later.
So you definitely are open to the idea that there is potentially a portal in Bobby Mackey's. There maybe potentially is a portal in the church at Tagus, and so on and
Absolutely.
so forth. Okay.
In one way or another, and then with that human interaction, it either gets blown out of proportion, or we just got to take it as it comes and figure it out when we get there.
I think what I was saying too when I froze up many minutes ago was I was going to ask you if you thought of the Earth as a sentient being.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
I really do believe that. I really do.
Yeah,
I
do too.
I have thought about the Earth as a living, sentient being, entity, whatever. That as human beings, we were put here for whatever reason, however, whatever people's beliefs are. But I sometimes feel like we are like a parasite or a cancer to this planet.
I know.
It's like all the roadways, all the interstates, and all over this world that are put in and have been for.
I know, for years and years and years. It's just like we're slowly just eroding our own, support system, and that's just how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, we froze up again.
I know this internet connection is really starting to frustrate me, but that's okay. We'll forge forth as we usually do.
Yes, we should forge forward. And
yeah,
what is your next thoughts on?
Well, I wanted to give
Bobby Mackey's?
I wanted to give a quick background to some of the alleged hauntings connected to Bobby Mackey's music world. Now, there's supposedly a history of murder, Mike, a history of suicide. You mentioned earlier, lots of rituals, demonic in nature, supposedly.
Well, going back to when it was built in 1850 as a slaughterhouse, that's when the slaughterhouse was first built.
Yes, exactly. There's even organized crime, alleged organized crime connections to this.
Yeah, over the decades, it's like Bobby Mackey's has gone through a progression of things happening like that.
Yeah.
And of course that's going to build up the energy and
And this place is, we're not talking about, innocent, innocuous, sweet little spirits inhabiting Bobby Mackey's. This place is supposedly infested with demons and evil spirits.
Right.
So say what you will about that. People who visited,
Zach knows he's had enough of them in him from that place.
I know he's a possession expert. He's been possessed every other episode. We get it. See, now you got my train of thinking screwed up again. Leave Zach alone.
Okay. Leave her alone. Why does everybody pick on Brittany? Remember that video?
Wow.
Ever seen that one?
That's interesting.
The guy screaming and crying on the. It's like he's hiding in a closet in clothes, and he's crying and screaming, and makeup coming down his face, and he's so distraught because everybody picks on Britney Spears. It's when she was going through her bald head.
Oh, I remember. I think that went viral years ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it just popped into my head.
Wow.
Leave Britney alone. She's done nothing to you. Anyway,
moving on.
Yes.
People who have visited
licking pike.
Yes, not licking pickerel, licking pike.
Right.
People who have visited Bobby Mackey's, they've claimed to have been attacked, maybe pushed down the steps.
Yes, that's a big one.
Scratched. Bobby Mackey's pregnant wife, when she was pregnant, she even claimed to have been pushed. That's not good.
Like she was going to be pushed down the stairs, like something was trying to push her. Yeah.
Some of the history includes a showgirl who once worked at Bobby Mackey's named Joanna, who had a boyfriend named Robert Randall. When Joanna's father heard about his daughter's condition, as in pregnant, well, he had good old Robert murdered by a gunshot wound to the head. That'll do it most of the time. Joanna was then so distraught that she poisoned her own father and then took her own life. Now, that really happened. That's a lot of freaking energy that's imprinted right there.
And that is documented as an actual, that's something that actually happened.
Is it, though? Is it? I thought that there have been investigations, sincere, looks into the criminal history, alleged criminal history of this building, and there's been nothing found to substantiate the existence of this Joanna, the existence of the father, of her boyfriend. Listeners, if you know for sure if this has been corroborated, if it's legit in itself, let us know. I've heard both, so I don't know.
Right. And and the history of this, we talked about the history of this. The slaughterhouse, which was the original building, that was actually torn down in the 1890s, and an empty field was there. But when it was in 1896, I believe it was.
No, you're right. 1896. That is correct.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a building put there as a nightclub and a speakeasy. I guess. Well, that would have been like in the 30s.
Speakeasy, what a word. You know what? Back in the day, Mike,
I love that.
Before any of our paranormal podcasts was even I don't know how you want to describe it. Just, a wet dream in my mind. I don't know how else to describe it. I thought about, it'll be fun to do a podcast one of these days. And one of the first names I thought of was the Lame Speakeasy. And I'm sure there's about 9 billion podcasts back in the day. This is, 2005 or something like that. So I'm glad I didn't go with that.
Would it have been like what, the Paranormal Speakeasy?
Absolutely not. No, it had nothing to do with the paranormal. I just knew I wanted to do some sort of podcast, and I was trying to think of names.
Awesome.
Thank God I didn't stick with that.
But when the new building was put there, I mean, they must have put it on the original foundation because a well has always been there.
Yeah.
Going back to the slaughterhouse, because the well was actually put there in the slaughterhouse for collecting the blood and the guts and the waste from the slaughterhouse.
Drainage purposes, yeah.
Right.
Ugh.
So right there, even though it's animals, I mean, to me, animals are sentient beings.
Oh, of course.
They know what they're going through before it happens, especially in this slaughterhouse where how many hundreds, maybe a day.
Oh, I know.
I don't know day, but how many animals were killed there, and that energy, that's got to be an energy that's building up.
That fear. I mean, it's horrible to think of it, but I wholeheartedly believe, like you said, Mike, that they knew that they were walking to their deaths. Yeah. I mean, even if they didn't understand death, they knew it wasn't good. They have the fear. Yes.
Like in town here where I live, in a small town, there's a meat market there. And when I was working and I'd go to get gas by this place, I would see like a pickup with a horse trailer behind it, parked behind this meat place, and the cow just and I knew that on my way to work, wherever I was going, during that time there was going to be a cow that's going to be slaughtered in the back and just processed and put up front for ribeyes and T-bones and
why are you doing this?
Grilling stuff.
Why are you doing this?
Because it's just saying, I'm telling you, that energy is there. I mean, I felt it myself, just seeing this vehicle there and knowing that cow in there is sensing something, and that's just on a small scale.
I know. You
compare that to Bobby Mackey's or when it was a slaughterhouse. I mean, it's extremely intense.
No, and I agree with you in the idea of that energy of fear just being imprinted down there as well, no pun intended there, as well around the well. So as you said, though, alleged murders dating all the way back to 1896, one of the most notorious murders in Kentucky. In Kentucky's history occurred and when a girl named Pearl Bryan was beheaded. That means decapitated, boys and girls. Some miles.
Head chopped off.
No going back from that one, unfortunately.
You can't fix that when it's broken.
Nope, no Band-Aid in the world could help. No amount of Band-Aids.
Maybe some sticky tape.
Maybe some sticky tape and some glue.
Double-sided sticky tape, just right there along the... Anyway, go ahead. 1896.
Pearl Bryan beheaded miles from the building by two men, Alonzo Whaling and Scott Jackson.
But there's a lot more that goes to that murder. I mean, wasn't it the fact that she was pregnant? They were trying to set up an abortion that they tried to do themselves, botched it. She died. They cut her head off.
It's awful.
To so she wouldn't be identified. But she was identified because of her shoes that were left on. And subsequently, these two men were tried and hung. But one of them, Alonzo Walling, I believe his name is, he vowed to haunt the place forever after his hanging.
Now, just think about that for a second, too. If this is someone in real life, someone when existing in human form was capable of beheading another human being.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
And now he is existing in the spirit realm. Well, guess what? He's a spirit who is capable of beheading. he's capable of beheading people in this life. Imagine what he wants to do in the other existence.
Prime example of that is how we covered Ted Bundy, the ghost of Ted Bundy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Same thing,
Again, no pun intended when I say hell yeah. Goodness gracious. Now,
hell yeah.
Some of the other details involving this murder, bloodhounds found the headless body, tracked its head's scent to the building, whereupon they captured the two men that we already mentioned, Alonzo Walling and Scott Jackson. The officials never found the actual head.
Right.
And contended that it probably washed out into the Licking River. But it is the opinion of Douglas Hensley, author of Hell's Gate, that the men went to the abandoned well underneath the building, connected to the river via a sewer, and offered the head as a blood sacrifice to the devil. Now, that's a lot of conjecture on Mr. Hensley's part there. But, hey, maybe he did. Obviously, he did his own thorough research, so much so to publish a book.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should check out that book sometime. The well is the last remnant of the building's former history as a slaughterhouse and was meant to channel blood from the former killing floor to the river, as we talked about before, making it thought to be the gateway to hell itself. The two men proclaimed at the gallows at this site that they would come back to haunt the area forever, as Mike already astutely pointed out. Now we're finally getting into some of the alleged hauntings of Bobby Mackey's.
Well, do we want to finish up with the history going up to where Bobby Mackey actually purchases this building?
Do you have that in front of you? Because I don't have that info.
Well, I kind of do.
Well, please help us through.
In the 30s, the place was called the Primrose. I think it was the speakeasy, and the mobsters were trying to muscle in. Obviously, they, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Trying to get the building, and the owner at the time did not sell and refused. It caused a lot of issues. I don't have what happened physically or anything with that, but that's part of the history. And in the 50s, it was reopened as a nightclub called the Latin Quarter.
The Latin Quarter.
Right. And that was that until 1978 when Bobby Mackey bought the building. But before he bought it, there was a lot of fatal shootings, just it was a bad, seedy place, a bad area, everything. And it was forced to close. And then that same year, Bobby Mackey bought it and just built it up to what it is today.
Basically what it is today. Okay.
Right. With that original well in the basement from the original slaughterhouse.
Do you have any recollections of the very worst bar you've ever been in, Mike?
Oh boy. I've been to the Philippines.
I knew you were going to say something about the Philippines. But man, do you have any details that pop into your brain? Or
well, I have told this before, where they try to make them nice, and they have a bathroom attendant in the bathroom. That it's like when you're done going to the bathroom, they'll.
That'd be great.
Would you like some cologne? I'm glad
the bathroom attendant was actually in the bathroom and not like behind the bar.
Well, exactly, and trying to make a tip, and. I remember standing at the urinal, going to the bathroom, and a guy coming up behind me, the attendant, and starting to massage my back while I'm urinating. That's bad. That's not a good place.
Was he blowing on your ear too? I mean, what was like? What was going on there?
He's just kind of flicking my right ear with his little finger,
flicking your
every
ear
once in a while when he was massaging my neck. Yeah. No, I was flabbergasted. I did not know what to do. The friend of mine that I was with, that him and I did a lot of work together while we were there, he was going to the bathroom and somebody came up behind him, or this guy tried to give him a massage, and boy, he was ready to kill the guy. I was more passive. I kind of let it happen, but it cut me off pretty quick. I couldn't finish going to the bathroom.
You know how I try to briefly give a direct description of each episode. When I publish some and stuff, I have to somehow include. Oh yeah, also Mike's story about his Filipino massage in a bathroom or something.
Yeah.
Mike's massage in a Filipino bathroom.
Yeah. Some bathrooms you go in there, it's just a hole in the floor.
Oh yeah, man.
No matter what you got to do. And the worst one I went into was the very old lady that was the bathroom attendant, and she was, it's like she was looking at my face while I was peeing because there's a wall there, but she, you could see over it. It's just like she was sitting there, and it was a very low wall, and very old lady. It's like she was staring at me while I was going to the bathroom. I don't think I finished that one either. I just had to go.
A little performance anxiety of another sort.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Now some of the ghosts of sorts that have been experienced in Bobby Mackey have been actually identified as the two men we have mentioned before by several eyewitnesses, including Bobby Mackey, Bobby Mackey's wife, Jeanette Mackey, the aforementioned Zach Bagans and crew. And I do want to share a story about the Ghost Hunters crew, their experience there when they filmed an episode, and the kind of the kerfuffle that started between some Ghost Adventures fans and Ghost Hunters fans. It's like, gosh, come on.
That's ridiculous.
Like, can't we all just get along here? We're in the paranormal field. Let's enjoy it and enjoy each other. It's like,
can't we just get along?
This isn't a competition, but even though it sure as hell has been made one, hasn't it? And according to Mike, it's been made a competition by Zach because he's to blame for everything.
Yeah, he's kicking out the small fries, and
Zach Bagans is to blame for global warming, according to Mike Carbno. I'm saying that right now. You said yes. Yes.
I'm not getting into that.
Now, Janet Mackey had a ghostly experience upstairs in the old apartment in the building, where she heard a voice scream, "Get out!" The classic "Get out!
Get out!"
That must be something that just is. We've talked about several times. It takes a lot of energy to be able to be heard, and they need to have, short and sweet and concise to the point. So, hey, get out works, doesn't it?
Sure.
She also saw a full-bodied apparition of a man, which she later identified from a photograph as Mr. Alonzo Walling. And this ghost allegedly pushed and forced her back to the top of the steps. She has since refused to be at the building for years.
And that shows this Alonzo. He did threaten to haunt the place forever.
He did absolutely.
So he's there.
And this, Bobby Mackey's wife happened to be pregnant at that time. That has to have some connection to the murder of a pregnant woman.
There you go.
I mean, and like you said, the botched attempt at abortion. Man, some nasty crap going on there, that's for sure. According to former caretaker Carl Lawson, he had an even more shocking story. Back when Carl used to live and sleep in the apartment upstairs, always with a shotgun in his hand, by the way, so that's a little bit of paranoia, but is it based in... Does he have a good reason to be paranoid, is what I'm asking.
Well, you gotta shoot the ghost somehow.
You gotta shoot them. You gotta shoot at the ghosts. I mean,
but you gotta hit him in the head though, otherwise it doesn't work. Wait, that's zombies. Never mind. Carry on.
Does it have to be a silver bullet? No, that's a werewolf. That's a werewolf.
Yeah. Wooden stakes and fireworks too.
They take out those damn feisty ghosts. That's for sure. Now, back when Mr. Lawson used to live and sleep in the apartment upstairs, always with a shotgun in his hand, every morning at 6 a.m., it sounded like, according to Mr. Lawson, Sounded like there was an army marching through the modern-day bar below him. On one occasion, he claimed to become demonically possessed. There's Mike's favorite phrase, demonic possession.
And this is Floyd Lawson that's talking?
How the hell did you get Floyd? His name's Carl.
Oh, Floyd Lawson. Well, he's the barber on Mayberry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I just got mixed up a little bit.
That joke went right over my head, so I apologize.
Yeah. Well, it probably went over a lot of people's heads.
Floyd Lawson.
And I'm not saying anything bad about our listeners.
No, absolutely not.
Anyway.
They tend to tune out after about 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
now, after claiming to become demonically possessed, a reverend spent 6 hours performing an exorcism on him, and Carl woke up with no recollection of what had happened. After the exorcism,
He woke up, when he woke up, he knew how to cut hair.
he knew how to cut hair.
It's just automatic.
He was covered in pea soup. I don't know why I said that. After the exorcism occurred, an entire wall mysteriously, listen to this, caught on fire.
Sure.
The fire department actually had to be called to come in and put the fire out. Nowadays, Lawson proclaims that by the grace of God, the demonic spirits know to leave him alone. So, now that's another thing we need to look into, or if you're interested, look into fire department records if they were actually called to Bobby Mackey's to put out a fire.
Yeah, that would be easy to look up, I'm sure.
Other employee accounts, of paranormal activity abound in Bobby Mackey's. One eyewitness, Rich Lawson, went to the bathroom to wash his hands at a sink, and a short Filipino lady jumped out at him. No, I'm kidding.
Would you like cologne? Cologne. Can I dry your hands for you?
And a metal garbage can to the left of his sink suddenly hurled itself backwards into the wall behind him with violent force and a loud impact. Rich turned around and saw a man with a handlebar mustache standing there, and the bathroom got intensely hot. The apparition repeatedly said the words, "Die game, die game, die game." Now that's die. That's not the German pronunciation of D. That's die. Die.
Yeah, like
game.
Death die. Dying die.
Manager Donna Clifton reported that one day she came into the bar and the jukebox started playing on its own, and it was not plugged in.
Did it say what song was playing? Because that is pertinent to the story.
It was playing Jack Scott's "Save My Soul." I don't know. That song popped in my head. Do you know that song? Again,
no song popped into my head. I don't know.
No one's laughing at that joke.
I know. I don't know that song, but
it's really good.
Would you like to sing a few bars?
Let's see. Well, it starts out like this.
Here we go.
And he goes, "Go down to the River Jordan. We're gonna ask to save my soul." There you go. That's all you're gonna get.
Gonna save my soul.
Very good. Man, Jack Scott is here. So the jukebox was not plugged in. The record spindle on top was spinning, even though there was no record on it. And the song it was playing, to answer a question, was not something present in the jukebox to begin with. The song being played, Mike, was the Anniversary Waltz.
Okay. Well,
that sounds familiar now, because we have talked about this.
Yes, I think, it does.
When we used to do Patreon exclusive content, which I'm kind of going back and forth about whether or not to start that up again, Mike.
Geez, here we go again.
We need to talk about that. I don't want to, but sometimes I think that maybe we should. But
people are tired of paying for this shit.
I know. Well, they didn't pay for it. What are you talking about?
That's why they didn't.
I lost my train of thought again now. Let's see here. I don't know why I said that in that tone, but that's okay. Well, the article I'm reading right now is just kind of focusing on the Ghost Adventures episode. That's where I was going, because we were talking about that as a Ghost or as a Patreon exclusive episode. So
we want to know what the kerfuffle was between the.
That's what I'm going to get to now, is because this has been a blast. We're flying through this episode. I want to talk about the Ghost Hunters episode back in the day when they investigated. This is when Grant was still a part of the team. It was Grant and Steve and Jason. I think Tango was involved. Britt. Do you remember Britt? Britt was there.
I do.
Chris Williams was involved.
Oh, yeah, Chris Williams, yeah.
The whole crew back in the day.
That's like old stuff there.
That's old
school.
Stuff. Yeah. This is interesting. Like I said, this is what caused, well, a part of this caused a big kerfuffle. This is kind of ridiculous.
Apart from egos.
And by the way, we will get into our opinions. That's what the point of our terminal episode is.
Yes.
It's yay or nay, no shades of gray at the end of this episode. We are going to give our final thoughts, Mike, whether or not we believe all this hullabaloo about Bobby Mackey's.
Absolutely.
Okie dokie. I believe this might have gone back to 2011 when this occurred. Forgive me while I'm scrolling through this because I want to make sure I get the quotes right. Yada, yada, yada. Here we go. Ghost Hunters team arrived at the den of Ghost Adventures team members Bobby Mackey's Music World. As we mentioned earlier, when the Ghost Adventures team appeared, that was their premiere episode, season 1, episode 1, back in 2008. Mike, you are grimacing. You look like you're in pain.
I am.
I shall continue.
I was moving my tablet and it hurt.
Now, this was Zach Bagans and Nick Groff and Aaron Godwin back in the day. And since then, and this was written back in 2012, 2011, Ghost Adventures had actually gone on at least 12 personal investigations at Bobby Mackey's. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool.
I did not know that either. I did not know that.
I did not know. Weird, wild stuff. Now, as the TAPS team rode in their giant black monster trucks headed for Wilder, Kentucky.
They had black Suburbans.
Well, hey, Mike, we're original fans. We remember when they had those rundown old vans. And,
that's right. Hey, I remember when they were just using their plumbing truck.
I think that's what I mean. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Good. Were they vans or were they trucks? I guess I don't remember.
I think they were vans. Yeah.
Now, riding up in their newly back then, giant monster trucks, Grant Wilson opened up a can of worms while riding in the front seat with Jason when he said, this is a quote, "The facts haven't been right." This is regarding to Bobby Mackey's alleged haunted history. He says, "The facts have not been right, and they've been blown out of proportion by other investigators." Now, that set all of the Ghost Hunters fans a Twitter, I should say.
Yeah.
On the Twitter, and they went nuts, and they all come towards Grant and Jason and blah, blah, blah. Now, longtime listeners to the Paranormal Zone, ding, 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 know that Mike and I are huge supporters and fans of the Ghost Hunters cast and crew. We love those guys.
Absolutely. We've had most of them on the show.
Yeah, lucky enough to have had so many of them on the show, including Jason, including Grant, including Steve. Oh, it's just been great. So we're big supporters, and if push came to shove, and if we had to choose, we did an episode about this actually, we would choose Ghost Hunters over Ghost Adventures for several different reasons.
Right.
Go listen to that one episode that we did not that long ago, where we did a Ghost Hunters versus Ghost Adventures.
I don't remember it.
Oh, you don't already?
No, I'm just kidding.
Now, of course, like I said, it caused an instant explosion on Twitter, and every Ghost Adventures fan simultaneously tweeted to Zach and that the Ghost Hunters team were dissing you guys and blah, 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 blah. Now, apparently, when Zach received this, he was sitting at a poker table in his hometown in Las Vegas, and he demanded to hear what Zach or what Grant and Jason meant. He demanded they respond to him. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That's alleged here in this.
I could just see him demanding it, and
I know,
pounding his fist on the poker table, sending his cards and chips flying. His cigar falls out of his mouth.
Now, this was when he was very muscle bound. So,
yeah, well, when you're playing poker, I'm sure he had this cigar in his mouth. Anyway,
this kerfuffle, this fray was soon joined by Chris Williams and Jason, and they had to smooth things over with the statements that Grant made about the history, blah, 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 about it being questioned. They had to come forth and make it clear that they were not questioning other investigators.
Although they were.
Well, yeah, according to that quote, it was kind of clear.
Yeah.
But they said that they were not questioning the other investigators. They were just saying that it was the alleged hauntings that have been being blown out of proportions, not the investigators themselves being responsible for blowing the alleged hauntings out of proportion. Even though, like we said, that's kind of how I interpreted it.
Yeah. And that's probably how I would have said it as well.
Now, just to be clear, I'm pretty sure that the Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures guys are on good terms, and they have been for a while. I know that years afterwards, when Bridget and I went to our first Paracon, and we left the second day before Zach and his crew arrived. And I remember I was following Zach on the Twitter then, because he was tweeting about how cold it was in Minnesota, and they were about ready to go to the Monoman Casino for the Paracon, and we're going to arrive there by noon, and blah, blah, blah. And it's so cold. I was like, yeah, well, whatever. You're getting paid good money to show up.
Well, he has no body fat to keep him warm.
That's very true. But then later on in that day, I saw a picture of him and Grant sitting at the bar, having a good time, smiling together. It was a picture that Grant took. And this was 2016, so this is after this kerfuffle started. So I'm assuming everything is still good, but then again, that's 7 years ago already, right there. 7, 8, 9, whatever the hell it was.
And we don't know what the conversation was when that picture was,
very,
at the
very
time
true.
that picture was taken.
And I have to recant
Grant could have
that.
said, okay, go ahead.
Well, no, I want to say, because it was actually a lot longer than that. I think it was 2013 or 2014 when that happened. So we're going on 10 years ago almost. So who knows? Maybe they hate each other. I have no idea.
Well, we hope they don't, because hate is not good.
No, of course not.
Love is what what we need to do.
Maybe they severely dislike each other, or perhaps they respect one another as people, but they disagree with their investigative techniques. Maybe.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they have to respect each other even on the paranormal level, because they're all in this for the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're all out. As dramatic as I feel Zach gets, he has the passion. He's going for this,
no doubt,
because he wants the evidence, because he believes in so strongly and has his own experiences. It's legit.
His belief is legit.
Yeah,
I
absolutely
firmly stand by that. This hasn't been a darn near 20-year fraud in the making. The guy is passionate about what he does. You can't deny that.
Yeah, he's a consummate paranormal investigator.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. So, now, getting back to some of the things that the Ghost Hunters crew experienced during their stay at Bobby Mackey's, needless to say, not nearly as dramatic as the Ghost Adventures alleged experiences. I know Chris and Britt down in the basement, they claimed to have heard a lot of knocking noises. They thought they heard voices. Steve was at one point trying to contact Joanna. They're not sure if they got replies, but in the evidence reveal portion of the episode, they did capture some EVPs that sounded kind of interesting. They had, back then, they used to utilize like a little dog every now and then. Do you remember that, Mike?
Yeah. That was, I believe that was Jason's dog.
I think so. Yeah.
It's like like an Australian Shepherd or something like that.
Yeah, it was like a little cutie pie. When this dog entered, I don't remember the exact locale. Dog entered the room, and some of the EVPs that they captured were clearly referencing this dog. So that's kind of interesting. And so they played those back in the reveal. I don't think that Jason, this is how it was back in the day. Do you remember when Jason, it was a huge deal if Jason actually said a place was haunted.
Right. Huge.
He could not bring himself to do that. Even if he got slapped in the face by something, he'd be like, I don't know. So I don't know if he said that he actually came to the conclusion that Bobby Mackey's was haunted or not, but he couldn't deny those odd EVPs and their personal experiences.
Right.
Mike, you and I have had so many odd, inexplicable personal experiences, but again, it's not evidence. Personal experiences are not evidence to someone else.
That's all they are, is personal experiences, especially if you're alone. It's just you saying what you heard, or even if we were together, it's like we can collaborate on what we saw and what we heard. But if it's not tangible evidence,
right, It's something you cannot present to someone else and say
exactly
this is fact, because
Right.
it isn't. Not to them. It just isn't.
right.
They also experienced some, or found some high EMF readings, locales, I should say, that projected high
remember
EMF
that.
readings. They claim to have felt cold breezes in the basements. That's kind of odd, feeling cold breezes where there shouldn't be any drafts down in this enclosed
Right.
basement. I have to say this. I don't remember this at all. I need to find this episode. Tango, who might have been fairly new to the Ghost Hunters crew at that time. I don't know if he was a veteran at that time. At one point, Mike, he was using a 600-volt stun gun during the investigation. I don't recollect that at all.
What was he trying to put energy in the air or what?
I really don't know.
It's for those cattle that might still be hanging out in the basement.
Right, there you go.
It's like a cattle prod.
By the way, the EVP that they think they captured said dog sees. That's what they thought it said when they were saying like the dog was in there and the dog saw them. That's kind of how they interpreted it.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
Which makes sense because I believe that dogs and animals are much more sensitive
Yeah.
and they can see things that we can't.
Yeah, Mike, we're already at an hour here. How do we want to okay, we provided the backstory. We talked about some of the investigations here. We read a little bit about the Bobby Mackey website. Did we talk anything about those alleged rituals, demonic rituals that have gone down in, the basement around the well area in particular?
Exactly. It focuses down to the well. I mean, because satanic rituals where they felt that animal and possibly human sacrifices were made. One of the two that murdered that woman with the botched abortion.
Mm-hmm.
It was alleged that one of them, probably the Alonzo, was part of that satanic situation that was going on there at times and has been there with sacrifices and things like that. I mean, that's conjecture, I'm sure, but maybe somebody had an idea or
we mentioned earlier that
something
that the author strongly believes that the murderers offered the severed head as part of
exactly
as an
right.
offering to the devil, and that's why the investigators never were able to find the head,
because the devil took it.
The devil took it. It's in hell right now.
Yeah,
as we speak. And you know what? If this shit really happened, Mike, I feel terrible for kind of joking about it a little bit.
Oh yeah,
so rest in
like
peace.
A screaming bodiless head.
Oh man,
in hell.
I know
that did nothing but had a botched abortion.
Yeah,
she was innocent.
100% innocent.
And it just it's despicable.
Would you, Mike, like to do an investigation there?
I would in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice about it. I would put a pup tent right next to the well.
Would you
and
pay
stay there?
$650 for a 5-hour investigation?
No. I would sneak in after hours.
So let me ask you that again. Do you want to do an investigation?
Yes, I would.
And there's so many locales. This is just my personal opinion on all these offerings of haunted tours and so many different locales across the country, across the world, places close to you and I. It'd be so fun to do it. But to me, I want to do it alone. I want to have my investigative partner, you, and myself, and then that's it. Mm-hmm. I don't even want a guide there to help us through, even if it's just the guide and us. I want the rundown, the breakdown of the history, and then let us go. I don't want to be there with 12 other people. I don't know why that taints it for me, but it just does.
Well, look at how we did experience that. You remember that old abandoned farmhouse that we went to that was supposed to have a possible grave in the basement.
Old abandoned farmhouse. What am I?
And we were.
Wait, is that the one that we had to walk through like the 5-foot tall weeds and grass to get to, or is that was a church? No, that's the wrong one.
Oh, that was a church. Yeah, that was. No, I'm talking. This was back when I lived in Park Rapids.
Old abandoned farmhouse.
And it was old abandoned farmhouse, and down in the basement there was a cement slab that looked exactly like it was like a body size.
Why am I having a complete blank? You're not talking about the rundown old building that still stands. That's like about 4 or 5 miles away from me right now.
No, not. Not the one by the liquor store on that 4 mile corner or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's miles. That's miles away from that.
But oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, but no, I'm talking about. It's a house where you and I are doing our best to investigate, but there was like,
oh, we never got there.
No, we were there. There was kids there. There was a couple of ladies there, and they're constantly talking and like, oh, look at this, and we just could not do an investigation because there was like so many people there.
I am really bothered because I am not. This is not sparking a memory at all.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, where can you remember the location of this place?
I have no idea. It was just.
It was out of town.
Nowhere around, out of town. It was an old farmhouse. There's actually a guy that I don't know if he owned it or what, but he was.
Wait a minute, is that where we took the pictures? Where we took the? Are we? There's a picture of us, our old para pictures, when we're standing outside of the building.
No.
Are you sure?
I don't think so. That's the one that is by that liquor store on the way to Dorset. That Dorset corner. Dorset is a small town in
I don't know about that because that building, I want to say we may have hit up both of those places in that day then, because the picture I'm thinking of, the wall and the clearing is not like this old abandoned houses down the road. I mean, that is covered with bushes and trees.
Right.
I know it's years later.
And the siding is like very old and brown.
I think I'm remembering it now, Mike. I think this is a different place.
It is. It's more like a old white farmhouse.
Okay. I'm kind of. It's coming back. Oh, it's white. White. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry to our listeners. But it's slowly coming back. I'll remember it eventually. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, the point is we couldn't do anything because there was too many people there.
Right. And there was a guy that was going to live in there because his wife had left him or something like that. And he had this one room where he had a computer in there and like a place for him to sit, but it was an abandoned house with no electricity.
Good God Almighty! I do not remember this at all.
Well, true story.
Well, I believe you.
I'm not making it up.
Where was I? It's like, my God.
I don't know. You were there. I remember you upstairs, and then there's an opening at the top of the stairs where if you walk up the stairs and you turn around or whatever, there's an opening that goes into like this storage area, and I remember crawling into there. Yeah, Anyway.
Well, if you ever come across any physical evidence, like pictures or anything of our time at that place, please send them my way so I can remember.
I don't remember anything that we brought out of that because it was so frustrating because there were so many people there and loud and talking and laughing.
Was it just you and I, or was like the ex there?
No, it was you and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
God.
Anyway, we spent way too much
time on my memory failures, so I apologize, everybody. Mike, let's dive into our opinions. It's time for yay or nay, no shades of gray. I think we gave a pretty good rundown of the story of Bobby Mackey's. Other investigators have had experiences, different levels of experiences. Mike and I would love to go there. We don't want to pay for it.
I'll go.
Hey, I'll go. I'll stand outside the door and go like, let me in. Let me in.
Yeah. I'll go in and investigate the hell out of it.
See, on those guided tours, it says they recommend you to bring your own pieces of equipment, your own digital recorders, but the potential of just being tainted by other people without even not by their own faults, but anything you pick up, anything, you have to question it because, well, was that something out of the thin air, or was that the guy standing next to me?
Yeah, that's like at that house. We were trying to do some EVP work, but there's nothing that we could keep. Absolutely nothing.
Man. Mike, do you want to give your final yay or nay, no shades of gray first, or do you want me to give my yay or nay, no shades of gray?
Okay, is this no shades of gray? Is this a portal to hell or not?
100%. That's what we're going to focus on. That's what the episode title is, Bobby Mackey's Portal to Hell.
Yes.
Do you believe this is a portal to hell?
Well, everybody knows what my opinion on certain demonic things are. Is it a portal to hell? Nay. No.
Wow, no beating around the bush there.
No beating around the bush there. It's a well it's an extremely tainted well, I would say.
A tainted well.
Yeah. Is it a portal to hell? I don't believe that. Is it a portal in any other shape or fashion or form? That's possible.
It's possible.
Portal to hell? No.
I was trying to find my yay or nay sound bites. I don't have them right now. I know one of them is the donkey, isn't it?
Oh, preparation is key, Patrick.
Yeah, well, I didn't prep, which is obvious. I did pull out the soundboard, though, because I wanted to play a few things and never got around to it. That shows you how, again, preparation, Mike. Preparation is the sign of professionalism. I couldn't even pronounce professionalism.
Well, and we do not claim to be professional, ever.
No, this is Mike falling down the well. There he went.
I don't know if I'd make any sound. I'd just be done. My mind would be going crazy as I'm falling into the well. It's like, shit, here I go. I'm done.
Oh, man. And then when he lands, well, guess who he meets down there? Yep, Mr. Chris Walken. He's right there. He's surprised by Mike's arrival. Wow. So quick,
I don't think Chris would be there, actually.
So quickly, no beating around the bush. Mike gives it a big nay as a portal to hell. Do you have any other? Do you think that it is potentially a haunted locale?
I believe it's a haunted locale,
separated from all demonic alleged occurrences.
Yeah, not taking into account even stories that are known to be true or possibly to be true or not, found to be factual at all. I still believe that this is a very haunted place. There are things that go on there. There is lingering spirits that are just, they're stuck there. Mm-hmm. They have to be there. They have to interact. And the well it can be a huge energy spot for this entire building and the land around it. I mean, there's a lot to this well besides being haunted or besides the possibility that a head was sacrificed in it or animals or people. But I don't believe in the portal to hell, but I do believe in some very strong energy going on there.
I think that's very well said. I think without beating,
I rambled a bit, but
no, you didn't at all. Actually, I think
okay.
Without my own beating around the bush, no drum roll needed. Nay, I do not think it is a portal to hell by any means.
And we agree.
We absolutely agree. We both give it a big giant nay, but with the caveat that I, like you, Mike, definitely think that this is a haunted locale. The history there, whether or not you believe in the stories, the alleged murders, the alleged suicides, I think that if anything, hauntings have been conjured up, have been / man-made at this place just because of the strong want, the strong need, the strong belief that this place is paranormal. I truly believe in the possibility of paranormal activity, kind of similar to poltergeist activity, but not really, as being made by man itself. I'm not saying that's what the case is here, but I think something is going on there that's unexplainable, inexplicable, downright creepy. But as far as being a damn portal to hell, nah, I don't think so. And this is coming from a Catholic boy, so I don't know. Well, I was Catholic. I don't know what the hell I am anymore.
And it's kind of filled in, so you're not going to get through it. There's no way that you can get down in there. If there's a ladder, it's buried. If there's stairs, they're buried.
Well, unless we somehow take some sort of like ethereal form.
Paranormal.
Then maybe. Then maybe.
Wispy ass doorway that opens up that you just fall through and it closes up.
Good use of the word wispy. I don't think we've ever used that before.
And I enjoyed your use of the word caveat.
I hope I used it correctly.
I think you did.
I don't know. If I didn't, we have listeners who love pointing it out to us. So please do that.
But I don't know. Did you use it correctly or is it just, no, never mind. I'm not going to say that.
Just don't go there.
It's a joke that nobody will understand. It has to do with family affair and Mr. French.
Well, I think the whole point, the biggest point, the most important aspect of this episode, this entire hour and 15-minute discussion, Mike, about Bobby Mackey's Portal to Hell, is that Mike Carbno, the paranormal poster boy, thinks Zach Bagans is a giant dick. And so we started the show with that, and we'll end it with that.
It's like that movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I love it so much, where Dan Aykroyd plays the old judge, and all of a sudden you look at him and his nose turns into a
No, why'd you
penis.
have to bring that movie? Why'd
I
you
love
have to
that
bring
movie.
it? Nothing But Trouble. It should be
There you
called
go.
Nothing But Crap. That movie
Oh,
is
it's fun. It's so
terrible.
much fun. Demi Moore. Oh, she was great in it. Demi
How
Moore.
can comedic geniuses like Dan Aykroyd, John Candy, and Chevy Chase lay such an egg for a movie?
I enjoyed it. I would watch it again.
You know what? I am going to have nightmares thinking about his Dan Aykroyd's penis nose that he has.
But he played that part so great, though. I mean, he was so awesome.
There was no humor in that movie. Whatever.
All right.
I don't want to end it on that note. We'll end it on.
No.
I don't know what the hell we'll end it on now.
I apologize. Okay, Family Affair. Mr. French was Mr. French's name Sebastian Cabot, or was it Sebastian Caveat? That's where my joke was going, and it was
goodness,
and it was going to go nowhere because I know how bad it was. And there's probably the only people that I think probably even know who Sebastian Cabot is probably Nez Ortiz. She always lets us know. I know who that is.
Well, Mike, the only
so you can
person laughing at your joke is you.
Is me. Hey, I retracted it as a joke, but I had to get it out somehow, so I had to explain it.
Computer Mike thought it was hilarious, so it was, yeah, I get it. Okay, Mike, this has been a blast. Thank you for making this work, buddy. This has been again, I'm repeating myself. This has been a blast, but I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope our listeners enjoy this as well. Send us your thoughts, what you guys think about Bobby Mackey's. Final thoughts.
As well as Bobby Mackey's is known. My final thought, as well as Bobby Mackey's is known and as popular as it is, people in the paranormal, even interested in the paranormal, have heard of Bobby Mackey's place in one way or another. But dig into it. There's so much more, and it's so interesting, and it's just a great story.
It's a sad, creepy story for sure. We kind of gave you the Cliff Notes version of it. So, if you're interested, we encourage you to check it out. Mike, thank you so much. This has been a very good time discussing all things paranormal, which is our passion. Mike, until next time, what do the friends of the Paranormally Zone need to do?
I should say it.
You should say it.
And it's out.